The first piece of Dark Souls 2 DLC delivered a lot of what we love about the series. It featured complex environments, unpredictable enemies, and vicious boss fights. Compared to Crown of the Old Iron King, however, Part 1 just feels like a warm-up. As a whole, this is Dark Souls 2 at its absolute best. One of the first things you'll encounter is an enormous chain connecting the entrance of the DLC to Broom Tower, where you'll be spending most of your time. There's an immediate sense of unease and an unnatural stillness to the place. Much of the area is covered in white ash that looks like freshly fallen snow, an almost tranquil scene were it not littered with the visibly pained corpses of those burned alive. As Dark Souls precedent teaches us, something awful and tragic has happened here. All you need to do is look around to get a sense of it. The ash also provides a convenient hiding place for enemies. Expect skeletal warriors to pop up in front of you, behind you, and even leap at you from a cliffside. Very early on, Crown of the Old Iron King teaches players to proceed slowly and with caution. It's something that's always been vital in the series, but it's even more accentuated here. There's situations where you can clearly see a horde of enemies waiting at the bottom of a ladder, and it's up to you to determine how best to approach them. Nearly every single area conquered feels like a monumental achievement. Much of the satisfaction comes from how great the new enemies are. Our favorites are the hulking Goliaths that wield enormous clubs or maces. While fearsome giants are a fairly common enemy in the series, this particular flavor has a smart twist. Bursts of lava intermittently spew from their shoulders, severely hindering those who rely heavily on the traditional combo of shield and circle strafing. By taking away what's usually such a foolproof method, you have to put a little more thought into attacks. Other notable enemies are spirits that brandish a flaming longsword in one hand and a powerful bow in the other. While the spirit's sword swings are irregular and can easily catch you off guard, it's how the creature uses the bow that's most surprising. Say it's firing arrows from a distance and you run to a hiding spot. The arm holding the bow can disembody itself and try to find a place to snipe you. It's a small touch that makes the enemy feel that much more threatening. Crown of the Old Iron King is filled with similar wrinkles just like it. Very rarely does DLC feel so meticulous, with so many interesting ideas. It's especially disappointing then when you run into a boss that is practically lifted wholesale from the main game. Aside from it having a different color and other extremely minor aesthetic changes, it's essentially the same fight. Granted, the boss has more health and hits harder, but the whole thing just feels like a missed opportunity. Fortunately, the other two bosses are more distinct, although one is somewhat reminiscent of the Pursuer. Even so, both offer thrilling fights that discourage overly defensive play. Outside of the repetitious boss, there's very little to complain about with Crown of the Old Iron King. As you descend deeper in Broom Tower, there's much to uncover, and you're often given multiple paths to explore. Regardless of how you progress, that familiar sense of dread will plague every step. Crown of the Old Iron King only gets more insidious as it goes on, and we wouldn't have it any other way.